Welcome to UnJustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and many times very unpopular opinion, which I'm afraid this one may be one of those unpopular opinions. If you're not already a member of our Breaking Crime News channel, please go ahead and just hit the link in the description box and go subscribe over there as well, because there is where we do a lot of breaking crime news that really doesn't get the attention from social media and mainstream media that I believe that it should. There's many cases over there that I'm sure you've never heard of. They deserve to have a story and a voice and a spotlight just as well as these high-profile cases that we discuss so much on this channel. This case, you got everything, and it's a very sided case. Anything is literally a possibility in this case. So let me say that right up front. I don't think Dawn knows anything about where Summer is. And that's just being completely honest. I have tried to weigh all of these theories, every one of them, and put Dawn knowing something, but I don't think he does, as far as where Summer is at. So there you go. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, because that is not one of the popular sides in these theories and opinions that's out there. And that is okay. By all means, please stick by your theory and do not let anything I say persuade you to think otherwise, because this is, as I say, my thoughts and opinions. Now, another thing I need to say up front is I'm not a Dawn sympathizer. And I'm not a Candace sympathizer, Grandis, any of them, okay? Do feel utterly sad that their child is gone. They've lost all of their children. Am I going to say that it's their own fault that they have lost all of their children? Yeah, I will say that, because I completely believe it is. I believe they failed the children. And again, that is going to be something that pisses people off that's on the other side of the fence. So pretty much what I'm doing right here is I'm probably going to piss off every side. Grab you a drink and let's get into this, because I hope this is not going to be a really long video. But to be honest with you, I've got a hell of a lot to say about this that I haven't said yet. And I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Dr. Phil and the other people that gave the interviews, they say that they believe that Candace is withholding guilty information. Now, I have to agree with this. Guilty knowledge that I believe that many people think they're withholding is guilty knowledge as to what happened to Summer. See, I don't see it that way. Yes, a lot of things has made it appear that these two are completely guilty of her disappearance. Yes, in a sense, because had the children been supervised, there was a lot of negligence there. But as far as them knowingly being responsible and doing it purposely, her disappearance, I don't see it that way. I sit here and give you my opinion why I don't think so many of the most popular theories are accurate. Doesn't mean I'm right. They could be 100% spot on, and mine could be so far out in left field, it just doesn't even count. I'm not condoning anyone for the theory they have. That is your mindset and your thoughts. And just because ours are not equal, so what? I knew from the beginning with this case that it was going to be a complete shit show. I knew that. From the moment I seen Don Wells on that TV interview, I was focused on the way Don was acting, his posture, his words, the way he was responding to questions, characteristic, as well as his answers.
So when her mother come in, she says, "Where's Summer?" She went down in the basement She didn't answer, so she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since. Please, let Summer be okay, and please come home. Some bad person grabbed her, but we have no idea. We're trying to think, beat her brains out. We've covered everything that we can think of already. Just really appreciate everybody trying to help that they have, law enforcement and all these volunteers that are here. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life.
And just hearing that very first interview, I seen that Don worked very hard to try to be mannerable, respectable, and looked at as a good Christian man. However, I didn't feel that way about him. And then when Chris McDonough went and done the interviews, then I was able to see Candace's characteristics.
What was it about this swing that is just so important for her?
Oh, she liked it. She just liked to swing. All the kids did.
Now, I don't want to talk about the boys right now because I know that's, a tough another part of your heart, okay? Yeah. And
I just seen almost a shy schoolgirl. That's what I got of her. And I honestly do believe there's some kind of mentality issue there. And I'm not saying anything degrading to her. I'm just being honest. Now let's go to another interview that Dawn had with Brian Enton. They were speaking about Candace. Brian Enton asked, do you think she may know something or something could have happened? She's just not telling. Dawn said she knows better than that. He said that twice.
Possible that something happened to Summer that Candace knows about that's not her fault, but she is just nervous now and feeling bad about it.
Well, no, because she knows better. She would know to go directly to law enforcement. An accident's one thing. She would never do something like that. She knows better than
Brian
that.
interviewed him after we had already saw a lot of the family dynamics happening and hearing it. YouTube Lives, for the most part, on Voices Behind the Walls channel. But you could hear the family dynamics in the background.
Gotta stop.
Oh, you fucking cunt. Here now.
Shut up.
Hey, you bitch. What the fuck are you talking
Baby,
about?
stop. I can't hear a fucking thing over you. Stop.
Why is she stupid?
Stop. I don't even know what the fuck she's saying because I can hear shit over you. Stop.
She's a dumb bitch.
I have to hang up then.
Just like a childlike pitching a temper tantrum. And what did Don do? He honestly almost got onto her just like I would assume he would get onto his child. He would lash out at her and call her names. Dumb this and stupid that.
Can you please let me fucking talk? I can't hear because this dumb bitch keeps opening her fucking mouth. What'd you say?
Really?
Man, please shut the fuck up, man.
That pretty much sealed the deal for me, that he literally treated her like a child. I do believe he's very controlling. I don't believe that Candace had any control over money. I don't believe Candace had any control really over much of anything. Don, of course, knew that was his wife and the mother of his children, but I do believe he treated her like she was 10 years old. I do think Don is very street smart. I think Don knows how to interact with the public, or he thinks he does, much better than Candace. In the interview with Allie that Chris McDonough did, she said that when Candace called her that day, or when she finally got Candace to answer the phone, whichever the case may be, that Candace told her that...
Yeah, she said her mom was outside talking to him, that she wasn't going to talk to him.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
That she wasn't going to talk to the police.
Yep.
But her daughter's missing.
That day, I think she was intoxicated. Maybe Don told her to keep her ass in the house because he knew she was intoxicated. And none of that shit's going to look good to a cop when you got a missing 5-year-old child, right? Her to escape and hide inside for whatever the case may be of why, it just isn't a good look. dirty feet, the no shoes, running around outside barefooted, all these dogs around. I mean, yeah, we all know somebody like that. You can be country folk and not have to be, I want to be outlaw. Then it comes out that her sister has been missing 11 or 12 years. Of course, that's going to pull in speculation and people's going to try to connect the two, obviously. Let me say up front, do I think that Summers' case and Rose's case are connected? I do not. People that has had run-in with the law that many times, and each time they had a run-in with the law, they were guilty. Dawn even spent time in prison. You get to where you just don't trust authority. People begin to believe they are the enemy, and they're just out to get you no matter what you do.
Someone stole our daughter. There's all kinds of people on there making us look like the criminals.
And with already having a background, then they're going to look at you even worse. And with the case with both of these is not only is it law enforcement they don't trust, they also don't trust CPS, obviously, because they've already lost all their children. And there was like 4, I believe it was. They both had 2. They're not trusting any kind of authority. So they would latch on to anyone that they can kind of relate with, like a normal person, right? No authority, just a friend.
Brenda, isn't it nice to see her smile?
It is beautiful.
It's so nice.
Smile.
I love y'all. Y'all are great.
Thanks for being our friends.
So that is how, in my opinion, that they ended up getting so involved on social media. Creators was going to them asking for interviews, and there's several many that did. And even Allie was reached out to by creators, neighbors, like they did, because it gave us something out here that was just observing things to latch on to. Now, when Dawn was having interviews, I'm going to be quite honest, I didn't pay a lot of attention to what Dawn was saying. I listened to his story in the beginning, but it continued basically to be the same thing over and over and over again. One night it would be all of the Bible scripts, and the next night they would be intoxicated, fighting, cussing, back and forth, back and forth. I almost found Dawn irrelevant because he wasn't there. TBI and the law enforcement and everything, they did get his phone, they got GPS. So I believe that if he was indeed there, that would have already came out. They did all take lie detector tests the very next morning. Dawn passed. Grandma passed. But Candace had to take another one. But Dawn says it was because she was so sad and broke up and everything that she just couldn't do it. But then word was out that it was because she was just intoxicated and things just wasn't going to register right. Whatever the case may be. When she did take the next one, she did pass it. Well, with what the YouTube community has done, even though it has turned it into a crazy, chaotic shit show, it's kept attention on the case. It has kept the heat on authorities that we're not going to forget it, and it's not going to die down anytime soon. From the very beginning of this case, just as everyone else, I ended up, making my own theories and thoughts on what we were getting at the time. Now, I have to be upfront. I have not rabbit holed this case like many, many other channels have. I want to break down some of the popular theories, and I want to tell you why I personally, in my own mind, that doesn't mean that's correct. Out one of the theories that you completely believe is what happened, then do not think that I'm saying you're wrong, because you may be completely right. I'm just telling you the way I see it right now until something else comes about. So the first theory, many people believe that there could have been an accident that Candace covered up. In the beginning, I thought that was a possibility. But now that time has went on, the boys have been taken, and the CPS has talked to the boys. If there was, then the boys was not aware of it at all, because I believe they would have already talked. Now, let me tell you this. One of my very close friends on here, and myself talk about this case quite a lot. She still thinks possibly that Summer did just wander off, and she may have fell off of a high cliff or something, just has not been found. At this point, I don't go with that either, because of all the extensive searches as well as the cadaver dogs. They are very good with those scents. I put a lot of faith in those dogs. I've seen them do some miraculous work. I don't believe Summer would have had time to have wandered off very far in that length of time, barefooted in that sort of terrain. Any of y'all from the country knows, walking out in that kind of terrain, there's like little thorns on the ground. It's hard rocks. I'm not going to be hightailing it out through there. And I'm sure any kind of situation close to the home, they have already checked that out, boots on the ground, as well as the dogs. So I just can't go with that one now. Also, the theory scenario that the church was involved, right? Either the members or maybe a visitor, somebody at the church could have been involved. And I have to say that watching a lot of the people that was involved with the church, some of the things they did, it was very sketchy. They were all about helping them in the beginning, and they were doing the parades, and they were just all into it when the mainstream media was into it.
I'm really under attack right now, big time. I feel like I'm on the edge of ruin right now because of the things people are saying.
Jesus! In the name of Jesus, you are.
Summer was such a sweet little student in our class. There's a lot of people that she would go to and just hug and
I want to thank all of y'all for coming out.
Here for all the YouTubers who's here or among us,
and we're trusting in you to bring this little girl home, Father, in Jesus' name.
Yes.
Amen.
It seems like when the mainstream media kind of backed out, getting uninvolved as well. And I could be wrong there, because there again, like I say, I did not deep dive this. This one is probably going to get me virtual slaps all over the place. But I got to say it. The for sale barrel and the dancing around the for sale barrel.
Country girl, sweet as tea on the inside, but make her mad, she'll show you that rebel side.
And the theory that I've heard about that so many times is she was dancing around that barrel that said for sale as they were sort of advertising her to a possible buyer in trafficking. They were actually advertising her. That is one of the most popular theories, and I know you're all aware of that. I'm going to be honest with you, that theory, I literally never thought too much about. And I know that's going to get me a lot of down heat, but I didn't. If any of you are from the South, I am. It is not uncommon out in the country, in the back roads, and you will see people that they have these barrels for sale. And they'll either have a for sale sign just nailed in the yard. It could be just written right on the barrel. Those barrels are used extensively, and we call them burn barrels. But if you think that is a high likely, and that is still one of your main theories, then I fully respect that. And it could come out that that's exactly what happened with that barrel. But I seen that as just a kid out playing in the rain. In my opinion, I don't think that barrel has anything to do with her disappearance. There, I said it. And I just don't. Another one, that Summer is in a wall in one of the job sites. That don't work. I don't see that either. If she was in a wall, there would obviously be a smell. And not only a smell, bodily fluids. I just can't go with that one. There was also one where she could be buried under the driveway of one of the homes he worked. I can't go with that either. Dawn was a drywall person. It's different crews that come into these new homes to do certain things. Like you'll have the cabinet makers go in and do their thing. You'll have the painters come in and do their thing. Sheetrock finishers come in and do their thing. And the concrete and the driveway, and it's completely different crews. Dawn had access to drywall finishing, right? And the hanging the sheetrock and all that kind of thing. But as far as the concrete and the driveways, that's not even his crew, nor his equipment. So I that one to me, I have to rule it out as well. We have the cornbread mafia. When they said cornbread mafia, Dawn kind of got a laugh out of it.
You know, what about those fellas that live around there in the cornbread mafia?
Cornbread mafia.
That's what we call them where we live.
I have no idea.
Then all of a sudden, Candace truly just breaks the hell down. And she's like, I got to get the hell out of here. I can't even talk about this anymore, which obviously made her look very damn guilty.
Heard about some hillbilly mafia type stuff and everything, you know, and all these different.
Personally, I don't think that's why she broke down. And it's because they said cornbread mafia. I think she was sitting there just trying, even before that was mentioned, to figure out any reason to get the hell out of there. She is not comfortable with cameras. She is not comfortable in front of strangers, especially authority kind of people. That's not her comfort zone at all. And I can assure you, even before that interview started, Dawn was like, just don't say much. Just let me do most of the talking. And, you know, because Dawn, there again, I say that he treats her like a child. And therefore, I think she thinks on a child mentality a lot. And she might be even afraid to say too much because he's going to give her hell when they leave. It's like, why in the hell did you say that? Or I told you just to keep your mouth shut for the most part. I'll do the talking, or something like that. I don't think she wanted to be there anyway. And then there was the theory about dry drowning. Now that was something that I completely put a lot of thought into because dry drowning is very real. And for a long time, I never even put that possibility out of the back of my mind. But now I have. The simple fact of so much time that's went by now. I do not believe that Dawn, Candace, or Grandis, or even Hunter, is savvy enough to have fooled and led on the FBI, the TBI, the search teams this long. Not to mention the fact, as we said earlier, all of these live streams that these two have been on, completely intoxicated. I just don't see them being to be able to hide her body 9 months and nobody has slipped up because those two's got mad as hell at each other. And Dawn has been arrested and there's just been all kind of craziness happen since she disappeared. I think this might be a new one. Some of you may not have even heard this one yet. This one really got my attention. This newest theory is they're wanting them to check cemeteries because sometimes the burial plot is dug out a couple of days before the funeral. Maybe a cemetery somewhere around had a fresh grave already dug and took her body and put her in the fresh grave and put dirt back on it and packed it down to where it would look like it hadn't been touched. And the funeral the next day, the casket would just sit down on top of her. Nobody would ever find her. That's one of the newest theories. It thinks that way, right? I mean, that's a theory that would have never went through my mind, but it did somebody. So it took me back. Because it is one of those things that could happen. It could be done. Here's the thing with that one. In order to do that, they would have had to pre-plan it. And just from the way they've acted, I just don't think that happened either. Although that's one hell of a good theory. You know, I mean, I have to say, my husband is the very first one that came up with this theory to me. And Summer got into some medications, some pills, drugs, and she OD'd. When Candace or grandmother or whoever it was found her, it was dire straits. I mean, how are they going to call 911? How are they going to call anyone and say my child got into meth and she's not breathing, right? She's having seizures. She's ODing. Grandis put her in the truck to, what was it, Wisconsin, and discard her body somewhere between here and there. And Grandis just disappeared and never came back. It was like, that's what happened. I know it is. One of the theories that I could not shake until I found out that Grandis passed the polygraph test. Now, when I found that out, I lost that theory as well, because we don't really know the questions that was asked on the polygraph, but I can assure you that they were somewhere in the lines of, do you know where Summer is? Do you know what happened to Summer? Do you know if Summer's alive? Those sorts of questions, those yes or no questions. I might as well tell you my theory. It is very evident that these children were living in a bad situation at that home. Also, I have came to the conclusion that not only did the parent fail these children, so did the CPS. The reason I say this is obviously CPS was aware that there was a situation in that home. CPS was scheduled to have a visit to their home the day after Summer went missing, which was June the 16th. Some people believe that CPS was coming to take the kids, and that is why they took Summer and done something with her, because they did not want her taken. No. CPS will never, ever give you a scheduled date and time they're coming to remove your children. It doesn't work that way. If children are going to be removed, that is coming from an unexpected visit, okay? They're not going to forewarn you for damn good reason. Some people, if they know exactly the time and the day that their children are going to be removed from their home, they would flee, or worse. Definitely wouldn't have been why CPS was coming that day on a scheduled visit. CPS does scheduled visits when they're doing like a home safety plan, home inspection. You're already like on this kind of a probation kind of thing with them. You have to have, of course, plenty of food in the house, kids clean. It has to be safe. There's other things that when Chris went in that house led me to believe that there was already some kind of situation with CPS. There was the bunk bedrooms like in the main entrance when you went into the house. So it looked like she was trying to separate the boys from the girls, and that is a rule of CPS. The boys and the girls can't sleep in the same room. She did stop at the grocery store and pick up some groceries before she got home. So it looked like she was pre-planning for possibly this visit with the CPS the next day. That said, the CPS was already well aware that there was a situation in that home. Here, where I live in Alabama, those children would have been taken from that home on the initial call that they went out. And I don't need anybody to come at me and be ugly. That's just country people. That's how they live, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it doesn't matter what they are as far as CPS rules. I mean, I'm just saying it just doesn't matter. There was many safety hazards there. I have worked hand in hand with them. I know what they're trying to look for. And some of the things that would have been almost an immediate problem, all of the stray dogs, all of the woods around them and stuff. Know yourself, there's going to be wild animals. That dog bite a rabbit, a raccoon, any of that sort of thing. You're talking about rabies. They could get distempers. They could get several diseases from these wild animals. That would be very dangerous to children, even cats. All of these animals would have had to have been either properly given up to like the Humane Society, or have each one of these animals vaccinated by a vet and have paperwork to do, because that poses safety hazards on the children. Another thing is like I saw a refrigerator in the yard, generator. There's several things that was in the children's proximity that they could get to and would be definitely safety hazards. Even that school bus, even that hole in the basement would have had to had some kind of guard door, something where children could not get in there. There was many safety hazards. That's not even talking about whatever the initial call may be. I'm just talking about the property and the conditions surrounding the children would have definitely been a reason to remove the children until these things were sorted out and fixed. So yeah, it does look to me like CPS is partially to blame here. Had CPS, when they stepped in the beginning, actually done what should have been done, then Summer wouldn't have even been at that house that day. She wouldn't even have been with them that day. None of them would. Okay, my theory. And I'll just start it off with saying, no, I do not believe Dawn, Candace, or Grandis knows where Summer's at. Many of you, if you could reach out and virtually slap me right now, you would. Because you fully believe they do. Fully understand why you think that way. And I'm definitely not condoning you for thinking the way you do, because I get it. I told you that I do feel like Candace is showing signs of guilty knowledge. And I do believe she's hiding something. And I believe Grandma is hiding something as well. My theory is basically everything that Candace said happened that day, it did happen. But I think her guilty knowledge is coming from the things that she didn't say. I think she conveniently left out very important details of that day and why she is responsible for Summer's disappearance. I don't think Candace was even at home when Summer disappeared. And I honestly believe that Grandis knew she wasn't there as well. Grandis said that Candace told the boys to keep an eye on Summer. And when Grandis said that, that kind of tied into my theory as well.
I laid down and went to sleep, and I got up and I was sitting in my doorway, and we come out, and Candace asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And we did that, and then Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, Mama, I want to go play with the boys. Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
Why would Candace tell the boys to keep an eye on Summer if she was there? And as I said earlier, I don't think Candace had control of any money. My theory is that morning when they got up, Candace was broke, didn't have any money. Dawn didn't leave her any money. Grandma had just had a knee replacement surgery at some point. She walked over there and she asked her mom, you got any money? You know, I need $20 or whatever. So Grandis probably like, no, Candace ain't got no money. My damn knee's swelled up and it's hurting. And Candace is like, well, you need to go to the ER with that. You know, you need to go have that looked at. Well, I'll take you up to the ER. Maybe they'll give you something for it.
I have a knee replacement, and she was worried that there was something wrong with it. And she took me into the hospital.
Candace, in my opinion, she's thinking, you know, they'll give you some pain pills. Her intentions were either to sell those pain pills. So I believe that she did tell Grandma, let me just take you up there. I'll drive your truck. Because Grandma's probably like, I don't feel like going nowhere. You know, my knees hurting, it's swelled. I'll drive. Me and Summer will go. You know, we'll take you. They got Grandma in the truck and they head to the ER. And while they're at the ER waiting on Grandma, I think Hunter did call her. I think Hunter had some money. I think he keeps a little money on him. Whatever. Because when Chris McDonough was there, he was talking to the other lady, Leslie, and he's like, well, I need a ride to McDonald's.
Where you going?
I got stuff I gotta do, buddy.
Where you gonna run me to McDonald's so I can drop that
I'll
off?
take you tomorrow, okay?
Sure.
Either tomorrow or Thursday.
You want a pizza?
I think Hunter got with her and he's like, look, if you'll give me a ride up to the hippie house, I'll get you a vape. You'll buy it because I ain't old enough. If you'll pick me up some twisted tea and a couple vapes. He goes and picks him up. So anyway, they get her prescription. They go to CVS. It is very common that they'll tell you it's going to be 35 minutes, an hour, something like that before we can have them ready. Instead of them going to the grocery store and getting the milk and those few items they needed, whatever it was, Summer could have cooled off in the grocery store while she was in there picking up the items, right? And they could have got a slushie and then went back and got the prescription. That's not what they did. They decided to go to a swimming hole.
We all walked down this path, me, my mom, and Summer.
All right. So all three of you together.
Yeah.
Now, how does Mom's knee handle this hill here?
Well, she uses her cane, so it's a little bit easier, and she'll hold on to my shoulder so
Okay.
she doesn't fall or nothing.
So you're kind of escorting her down here.
Yeah.
And where's Grandma?
Mom's standing right here.
Okay.
And I'm over here close to the edge.
Why would she walk down to the swimming hole if her knee was giving her a lot of problem that day? Looks like she would have sat in the vehicle in the air condition. What I'm getting at is I don't see Grandma's knee being bad enough for her to have made an early morning ER. I'm just saying, I think that prescription was more Candace's idea than Grandis's. Hunter hooked her up with a bait and things like that. I don't think Candace paid for any of that. I think Hunter did. And they left the swimming hole, went back to pick up the prescription. Then what do? They go to the grocery store. Hunter sits in the vehicle with Summer watching TikToks while Grandma and Candace go in the grocery store. There again, how in the hell does she feel like walking through a grocery store with this knee? Why couldn't Candace just pick up what you needed? Just pick me this or that up. I don't feel like going in. But no, they said Grandma went in too. And after they do the grocery store, they take Hunter home and they go home. Grandma now says she went in and took a nap. Then she says she get up, sitting on the stoop. Candace is out there. Ask her what she was doing. She said she was fixing to pot them cactuses or whatever it was. I asked Candace, did she want to help her? She says Summer comes over there, gets a piece of candy. Candace walks her back home and tells the boys to keep an eye on Summer. She was home. And if Grandma was home, and Grandma was outside anyway, why would she need the boys to keep an eye on her? I think Grandma got some pain pills that day. Candace was either going to sell them or trade them off or something like that. So she says, I'm going to run up the road here. I think she left and she went to do whatever with those pills. It's either one or two things. Either she came back up and the boys didn't pay any attention because they were nose deep into their games, or while she was down in the basement, she looked out the window there and saw her puppy, kitten, who knows. And so she went out the back door. Maybe the puppy or kitten ran down that dog trail. She picks it up. She's walking back up the road to go back home. Maybe she was wearing her swimsuit again, which would really catch the attention of a creeper. I believe someone picked her up. That is what I believe. I do believe she was abducted, and I do believe it was by some creeper. I do know that her swimsuit, as far as I know, has never been found. Now, I'm aware that the picture in the back seat with the milk, she had on this whole clothes with long sleeves and everything. I'm aware of this, but if the vehicle they were in had air conditioning and she was wet and been swimming, there's a high likely that she, Candace had these clothes in there and she just put them on over her swimsuit, because if you're wet in the air conditioning, she could have been cold. And then when she woke up and got back home, it was hot again. So she just, stripped off those clothes and had her swimsuit on again because it was under those. If she did open that back door and dart down that dog trail, that would almost explain very, very closely why the dogs lost her track right there at that road. They followed it to that point. Then the trace, everything was gone. I know that's been said they've seen footsteps or something here. I'm also aware that someone heard a scream. The scream could be very relevant to someone picking her up right there. I don't believe she was there when Summer went missing. The whole trip with Grandma, I believe, was because Candace either needed pills or some money or something like that. Out of the blue, Hunter's with them. I believe that was for the fact that Hunter had a little money and he needed a ride. And he needed someone old enough to buy his alcohol and vapes because he couldn't do it. So he will buy her one if she will. Because do you really see Dawn leaving Candace for money she wants to just go to the hippie house and buy twisted teas and vapes? I don't see Dawn doing that, do you? I don't really see Dawn leaving Candace a damn thing. It's possibly even why she drove Grandma's truck that day. Dawn's truck was out of gas, and that's why he drove her car that morning. And that's why they was doing all the running around in Grandma's truck. That's my theory, y'all. I think she wasn't home. I do think that somebody picked that baby up right there where the dogs lost her trail. This could end up being like an Elizabeth Smart, J.C. Dugard kind of thing here. Eyes need to be looking in all kinds of different directions thoughts need to be everywhere. And I'm not sitting here saying that I know 100% that these parents are innocent, because they well could be 100% guilty. But my personal theory is they don't know where Summer's at. I think Candace is guilty of neglect and leaving her unsupervised with the boys. If any of you have kids that play video games, you know yourself, you can sit and talk to them, and they don't lose their focus off of these games. That's where all their attention's at. So depending on how long Candace was gone, in my theory, there's no telling how long Summer had actually been missing before Candace noticed her missing. Does Don know that she wasn't home? Some of the things he said has led me to believe that, yeah, he knows. She finally has told him, or yeah, he knew that she was going to be going and doing whatever. But they say he was very protective over Summer. And it's like, he just didn't really trust Candace watching her. I mean, that's what I picked up. If she did tell him, that could be why he said he made the wrong friends.
Would she have gotten herself into a situation where it wasn't her fault, but...
No.
You know what I mean?
No. The biggest mistake she might have made is maybe choosing some wrong friends, which is, it happens.
That could be where that statement's coming from. Grandis, if her knee is that bad, driving hundreds of miles alone, I mean, that knee's going to be swollen as big as her head. She needs somebody to drive it for her. There's so many things that she did that day, as well as after the fact, driving all the state's way.
Was smart enough to get the fuck out of here to avoid all these stupid questions. That's why. She's seen this shit coming. She knew what was going to happen. That's why she left.
Didn't Candace need her? I mean, that's her mom.
Yeah. Right. But her mom ain't never been here for her before. And nothing has changed now.
Planting flowers, blah, 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. Going to the grocery store. All those things doesn't sound like somebody that has so much knee pain. They've got to go to the ER. I think what's being hid is Candace wanted pills. Candace wanted money. She was selling some pills and she wasn't there. How long was she gone? I don't know. How long had Summer actually been missing by the time she noticed her gone? By God, it wasn't no 2 minutes. Candace could have been gone a couple of hours. Didn't they say they got home around 4 and then it was around 6 that they noticed her missing? So hell, it could have been anywhere from the time they got home until they called 911 before they knew she was missing. I don't know that it would make a difference now. At the time, it would have made all the difference in the world. They knew she had been gone 2 hours. They would have known to stretch out farther. I believe she was at the end of that road with that little swimsuit on at the wrong time. The wrong time.
At the basement door, a door he says her brothers often left unlocked and wide open.
We'd get on them a lot, and so you can't do that, but it just, we'd always find it open a lot of times.
Will says he believes someone was lurking at the top of a dog trail, just feet away from the basement door. He says the predator somehow managed to snatch Summer, then raced down the steep hill.
I didn't know the dogs even had a trail down through here until the police dogs followed it all the way to the road.
Dogs had a pretty good trail, a track for a little while, but then it disappeared, but they lost scent it when it came to the road.
It could have been somebody that had been preying on that family for a long time, just waiting on the perfect opportunity, and there it was. I wish law enforcement would get in these neighbors that are registered SOs and thoroughly search those houses and their whole property. If something else comes about that makes me think differently, that's where I stick. Candace wanted some money or wanted to get high or both. Grandis could have left because she may have been afraid of coming at her going, well, what prescriptions did you fill? Well, can we see your prescriptions? Guarantee you she got narcotics that day, because those whatever that prescription was very damn important. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have a live on this pretty soon, too. Have a great day, night, evening, wherever you may be. And until next time, this is Unjustified.